From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America. Hello everyone and welcome to Firstpost America, your global pit stop for the latest news and headlines from the United States and around the world. I'm Eric Ham coming to you live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We'll get you a roundup of all the day's top stories, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. Fierce battle raging at Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital enters day 4. Israel says over 140 fighters have been killed at the complex, teeming with patients and displaced Palestinians. China accuses the West and the United Nations of slander over criticism of Hong Kong's national security law, which was passed by the city's pro-Beijing parliament. At a summit in Brussels, European leaders call for a nuclear energy revival after years of gradual decline. Unidentified gunman kills 15 civilians, including the commissioner of the eastern city of Pibor in South Sudan. Authorities say the city commissioner was ambushed. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro cracks down on opposition. 2 leaders from candidate Maria Machado's camp were arrested, and the opposition calls it prosecution by terror. We begin with updates on the Russia-Ukraine war. The Ukrainian capital city of Kyiv was rocked by explosions early this morning as it came under heavy Russian bombardment. Ukraine says Russia fired drones and both ballistic and cruise missiles at its capital city. There were reports of dozens of loud blasts and air defense fire, with air alerts lasting for nearly 3 hours. Social media pictures showed people in Kyiv taking shelter in underground stations. And the attack left at least 10 people injured and damaged residential buildings and industrial facilities. An apartment building and multiple cars were on fire in central Kyiv. Now, this was the first large missile attack on Kyiv in recent weeks. And Ukraine says its air defenses downed all 31 missiles that targeted the capital. The head of Kyiv's military administration said the Russian military used strategic bombers to launch the missiles. And the missile and drone attack came just hours after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky underscored the lack of air defense systems.
Necessary aid is being provided to every injured person, but this is not enough, and everyone must realize this. Kharkiv needs an adequate number of air defense systems. The Sumy region needs it too. Chernihiv region and all other regions suffering from Russian terror need it. These defense systems exist among our partners, and our partners need to understand that air defense must protect lives.
Now, just hours before the attack on the capital city, a Russian missile had hit an industrial area in Kharkiv, and at least 5 people were killed and a dozen injured in that attack, while causing a major fire at a printing house. And on Wednesday, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan made a surprise visit to Kyiv. In fact, Sullivan vowed that Washington's support to Ukraine would in fact continue. He also assured that a major U.S. aid package that has been blocked by the Republicans would in fact get to Ukraine. However, he was unable to put a timeline on when he expected the package to pass. The legislation has been languishing in the lower chamber of Congress for weeks now.
We have stood by your side since this war began. We have provided enormous support, and we will continue to do so every day in every way we know how. Now, I know there are questions here because of the back and forth in our Congress in the months that have gone by without the supplemental bill coming through, the package of aid that you rightly deserve and that President Biden is fighting for every day, the $60 billion that the Senate has passed on a bipartisan basis, and now we're working with the House to pass. But from our perspective, we are confident we will get this done. We will get this aid to Ukraine.
Now, just last month, the U.S. Senate approved the $60 billion emergency aid package for Ukraine, but House Speaker Mike Johnson has refused to bring it to the floor for a vote. Yet House Democrats are desperately attempting to corral the votes to bring the package to the floor for a House vote. And it was a week ago that the White House announced an additional $300 million in military aid to Ukraine.
Confident that we will achieve Plan A. We will get a strong bipartisan vote in the House for an assistance package for Ukraine, and we will get that money out the door as we should. So I don't think we need to speak today about Plan B. So there is a wide understanding in the United States that Ukraine matters, that the security and future of Ukraine matters to the security and future of the United States of America. And that we want to help a friend and a partner, but we also want to help ourselves in helping you. Now, of course, there are politics and procedures and obstacles to getting this done, and I can understand how frustrating that is as you fight this war and seek further assistance. But I want you to know that among members of Congress and among the American people, there continues to be a deep and strong reservoir of support for what you are doing.
Now, the political deadlock in Washington has coincided with Russia's most significant gains in 9 months. This includes the capture of the industrial town of Avdiivka after months of heavy fighting. Russian troops occupy now more than a sixth of Ukraine's total territory and are on the offensive in the east. And now from Russia's war in Ukraine to their enduring friendship with China, which is being viewed as a potential game changer. Senior officials in the U.S. military have raised a red alert. The commander of the Indo-Pacific forces has warned of deepening ties between Moscow and Beijing. The military leader informed U.S. lawmakers about the strong ties that China and Russia are in fact forging. The commander claims that President Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping would eventually challenge Western unity. The high-ranking official added that this would be possible with the support of both North Korea and Iran. The Indo-Pacific commander calls it a new axis of evil with China at the forefront. Now, while addressing U.S. lawmakers, the military general said that the only counter to this new axis of evil was to forge alliances with like-minded allies in the region. Now, of course, this is not the first time that these alarm bells have gone off in Washington over deepening ties between China and Russia. In fact, the U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin also says that Russia has grown closer to both North Korea and Iran.
As President Biden has said, we will not walk away. Now, Putin hoped to isolate Ukraine. Instead, he left himself alone with Iran and North Korea. And that's a far cry from the some 50 nations of goodwill from all around the world who gathered again today. Our allies and partners are here because they understand the stakes.
Now, Putin continues to target Ukraine with weapons procured from both Pyongyang and Tehran. And at the same time, Russia's economy has now become highly dependent on China. In fact, last year, trade between the two nations reached an all-time high of $240 billion. Previously, the Pentagon has made a clear distinction between Russia and China, characterizing Beijing as a challenge and Moscow as a threat. However, U.S. officials believe that Putin's war in Ukraine could embolden Chinese leadership with regards to Taiwan and the South China Sea. American intelligence agencies warn that a security coalition involving Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran would be detrimental to regional peace and stability. One reason for this, Russia, China, and North Korea possess nuclear weapons and Iran has enough uranium stockpiles to create weapons of mass destruction. American military leaders are urging lawmakers to counter the new axis of evil. This would include forging deeper ties with like-minded allies, including South Korea, Japan, the United Kingdom, and the Philippines. But this all begs the question, will U.S. lawmakers move to provide the $60 billion in aid to Ukraine that it so desperately needs to push back against Russia? Moscow is clearly the catalyst in this new rising threat to global order and stability. And now we move on to Donald Trump and his mounting legal troubles. The clock is ticking on the former president to secure a bond to cover the nearly $500 million judgment in a civil fraud case. Trump's campaign has called for donations from 1 million of his backers, warning he could lose his New York properties. The campaign sent a text message to supporters to donate amounts ranging from $20 to $3,300. Now it's unclear if Trump could use these funds to actually pay for this judgment. Federal law prohibits use of campaign money for personal expenses. However, Donald Trump has been able to use donor money to pay some of his legal fees, saying his legal defense is, in fact, campaign related. The civil fraud case against Donald Trump was brought by New York State Attorney General Letitia James. And in the text message, Trump's campaign accused James of wanting to seize Trump's properties and portrayed her actions as part of a broader effort to harm his re-election campaign. Now, Trump's team has also sought out wealthy supporters and weighed what assets could, in fact, be sold fast. In fact, earlier this week, Trump's lawyers acknowledged that he was struggling to find an insurance company willing to underwrite his bond. His attorney said they approached over 30 underwriters to back the bond without any success. Trump himself has said it was practically impossible for him to actually post that amount. Now, Donald Trump must either pay the sum out of his own pocket or post a bond. If he fails to pay up, Trump could see some of his real estate assets actually being liquidated. The former U.S. president is facing a Monday deadline, and it is clear that he does not have the cash. So will donations from wealthy supporters pull Trump out of this legal morass, or will he have to let go of some of those luxury New York properties? There is even wild speculation that he could sell this winter White House, Mar-a-Lago, to help quickly secure the $500 million that he so desperately needs. One thing we know for sure, all eyes will be on Monday's deadline. And now to the Caribbean, where violence has escalated dramatically in Haiti. Hundreds of civilians have been killed, and what started out as a fight between armed gangs and the government has become a free-for-all battle. In fact, some gangs have reportedly set fire to members of rival syndicates, and nations are sending charter flights to evacuate their citizens. But who will rescue the Haitians? Our next report explains.
Armed gangs have launched a new wave of attacks in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. What started out as gangs versus the government has now turned into an all-out war in the Caribbean nation. Dead bodies are scattered across the streets. Hundreds of Haitians have lost their lives to the violence. Thousands have been displaced. Their homes have been completely destroyed. Gang leader Jimmy Cherizier started the chaos. The violence has forced Prime Minister Ariel Henry to resign. The announcement of his replacement has been delayed, and this has led to more chaos in Haiti. The US says that a new transitional government is the need of the hour. Washington is directly poking its nose in Haiti's internal matters.
It is not hyperbole to say that this is one of the most dire humanitarian situations in the world. Gang violence continues to make the security situation in Haiti untenable, and it is a region that demands our attention and action.
Meanwhile, the US has sent special charter flights to evacuate its citizens from Haiti. Other nations have also begun evacuating their embassy staff. As others pack their bags, it looks like no one wants to lend a helping hand to Haiti. Meanwhile, the gangs in Haiti say they will not recognize the transitionary government. Gang leaders are calling it an attempt to control Haiti.
We don't recognize the CARICOM meetings. We don't recognize the UN Security Council meetings. We don't recognize the body group meetings. We don't recognize the meetings held at the White House. Haiti's destiny has already been made and is not part of any of these groups.
Without a government, Haiti has descended into complete chaos. Gangs have now started turning on each other. The aim is simple: whoever has more muscle wins. Some gangs are also capturing members of their rivals and setting them on fire. And amidst the gang war that was started by Jimmy Cherizier, a new mafia leader has risen. Escaped inmate Ezekiel Alexander has rallied thousands in his support as he vows to take back control of Port-au-Prince.
I feel sad when I see the area devastated, when I see older people and children, and when I see how they destroyed the biggest hospital in the area. I'm here today to help people return to their homes. It's not easy to do in one day, but with the support of the people, I'll do what I can.
Meanwhile, Haitians who are caught in the crossfire are wondering if they could have done things differently.
When I woke up to go to work, I found I could not leave because the neighborhood was in the hands of bandits. There were about 30 men with heavy weapons. If the neighborhood was mobilized, we could have destroyed them, but they were heavily armed and we could do nothing.
Civilians have been dealt a risky hand. On one side, they could join a gang but face the brutal mafia war. Or they could side with the government and be targeted by the armed gangs. For the Haitians, it's only a lose-lose situation.
And finally to Italy, where Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has filed a defamation suit claiming damages over $100,000. Meloni went to court after multiple deepfake pornographic videos of her was created and circulated online. Now the Italian police are in fact investigating a father-son duo in the case. Our next report explains the details.
Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni has become the latest victim of deepfake videos. The Italian leader's fake pornographic videos were uploaded online. Meloni has filed a defamation suit seeking over $100,000 in damages. She is due to testify on the 2nd of July. Italian authorities are investigating a 40-year-old man and his 73-year-old father for allegedly producing Meloni's deepfake. The police say that the father-son duo were traced by tracking down the mobile phone from which the videos were uploaded. Both the men have been accused of defamation. Under Italian law, some defamation cases can result in a jail term. According to police charges, Meloni's videos were posted on a pornographic website in the US. These videos were uploaded in 2022, before Meloni became Italy's Prime Minister. The investigation also revealed that these videos were viewed millions of times. Meloni's legal team says that the money that she has claimed for damages is symbolic. If she wins, she will donate the money to support women who have been victims of male violence. Her lawyers say that Meloni wants to send a message to the victims of abuse, asking them to not be afraid of pressing charges. Deepfake videos have become common in recent years. Meloni is not the only global leader who has been a victim of deepfake videos. In January, a video of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau went viral. The video showed Trudeau selling cryptocurrency as a government scheme. In June last year, a deepfake video of Russian President Vladimir Putin surfaced. It showed Putin declaring martial law and saying that Ukraine had invaded Russia. Deepfake videos are being used in elections globally. These were widely reported when Indonesia held the world's largest single-day election in February. The US has raised concerns over the use of artificial intelligence for spreading misinformation, particularly by authoritarian nations looking to disrupt the democratic process.
It's a robocall for an upcoming election, 2024, obviously, so I just want to be careful in that comment, but that call was indeed fake and not recorded by the president. I can confirm that, and so I just want to be really careful since it is a primary election, it is a campaign, don't want to speak too much about that. Look, more broadly, as we talk about deep fakes, the president has been clear that there are risks associated with deep fakes.
Now, if you're still wondering what a deepfake video is or how it works, here's your answer. A deepfake image or a video where the face of a person is digitally added to the body of another with the help of artificial intelligence. These deepfake videos or images are often hard to identify. The technology has rung alarm bells across the globe due to the high risk of misinformation it poses, as the consumers of such content may never find out if the video or image they saw was original or not.
That's our show for today. We thank you so much for spending time with us, and we hope to see you right back here again tomorrow. Thanks again for watching. From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden. How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all,